Hey guys, Zen here, and there was once a game that ripped off Rainbow Six Siege in every single way imaginable. Weapons, destruction, and even a mounted and loaded operator were all there. So, what did Ubisoft do about it? Well, they pulled the rug out from underneath it and sent it spiraling out of existence, and what they did next was just unveiled, and it is a bombshell. There's also a new undisputed top operator, and it happened fast, and if you're not playing her, you should be. And if you want a taste of black ice in a totally new form, then there is a way to do it, but it has nothing to do with Rainbow Six Siege. Let's get into this. But first, I want to thank R6 Tracker for sponsoring this video. Guys, I use R6 Tracker every single day that I log into Rainbow Six Siege because it's the perfect way to keep up to date with stats and improve. After it's installed, you'll get live match stats that track your in-game metrics in real time. It shows your KD as it changes, each person's headshot percentage, and every player's top attacker and defender. The Operators tab shows you your performance with every single operator in Rainbow Six Siege and how proficient you are with them. You'll see total kills, the amount of wins, and your overall KD. The Performance tab shows detailed graphs of your performance over time. It's easy to see at what points you performed best and what playlist you average a higher KD or more wins. And then if you come up against a player that you want more insight on, you can use the search feature. Just type in the name of anyone you come across and get the intel on what they're all about. It takes the guessing game out of opponents and teammates and sets you up for a more productive round. And guys, the entire thing is customizable with keybinds and settings to tailor it exactly how you like. And so click the link at the top of the description and download R6 Tracker for free today. And so guys, IQ. Not that IQ, this IQ. The average human has an IQ of 85 to 115, and there was an article published by Psych News that showed a direct correlation between your IQ score and the video games you play. At number 3 is Minecraft, with an average IQ of 116.3, which is just above the human average. Then at number 2 was Among Us, with an IQ score of 118.9. And the number 1 highest IQ of all games played is Rainbow Six Siege, with players' IQs averaging 120.3, which is in the very superior percentage of the world, only being beat out by 130, which is exclusive to lawyers and surgeons. Meaning if you play this game, you could be just smart enough to work in a hospital or complete a doctorate. I find this fascinating because after years and years of learning all there is to know about Siege, you don't really compare that to your core smarts as a human being. And after this study, it's apparent that even if you have a bad game and your teammates are calling you brain dead, you're actually one of the smartest gamers in the world. Next up, what was one of the top downloaded apps on iOS, had a fast-growing community, and forced Ubisoft into a lawsuit with both Apple and Google? Area F2. Now, you might not have ever heard of this game, but over a year ago, we discussed that Ubisoft had moved in on taking down a mobile shooter called Area F2 that was a one-to-one clone of Rainbow Six Siege on mobile platforms. Every single element was there, and if you slapped the Siege logo over top, you really wouldn't notice the difference. It was developed by 2 Chinese companies and saw an explosion in popularity, mostly off the back of Rainbow Six Siege. And since then, Ubisoft had it taken down and dropped one of the biggest announcements in this franchise's history. It's official. Rainbow Six Mobile is coming to both Android and iOS later this year, and it is the Rainbow Six Siege experience tailor-made for mobile. Now, guys, for myself and probably many of you, mobile games just aren't a part of daily gaming. I play competitive games mostly on PC, locked in with a headset and a high refresh rate monitor to perform at the highest level. And mobile games have always been considered a more casual experience. But today, I think that mindset is a bit naive because games like Call of Duty Mobile and Genshin Impact are taking this industry by storm, and there are millions and millions of people playing these games every day. Even people switching over to these games from their console and PC counterparts. And if Area F2 proved anything, it was that the R6 formula works on mobile, and there will be tons of gamers willing to jump in. And so here we are. Rainbow Six Mobile is coming this year and promises the intense Siege gameplay on your mobile device that you can take anywhere. Now, it's being developed by a completely new team, and it's also a from the ground up new game, and so they guarantee that no staff or resources from the Rainbow Six Siege team is being taken away from the lead game. They say, at first glance, many people might see Rainbow Six Mobile and think it looks incredibly similar to Siege, which is great. At its heart, Rainbow Six Mobile is a competitive and tactical FPS game with 2 teams of 5, attackers and defenders. While the core gameplay, characters, and maps may share similarities with Siege, we've rebuilt everything from the ground up with mobile usability in mind. We've put a lot of work under the hood to adapt the Siege experience for mobile devices. This includes an entirely new gameplay control system developed specifically for mobile and extensive optimization of the UI and in-game visual presentation. They also note that the goal isn't to take you away from Siege, but to expand it and enable you to play it wherever you are. Now, this game has been in development for 3 years. AAA games can take a similar amount of time, and so there is a massive backing in making this game a reality, and thankfully, you don't have too long to wait. You can sign up for the alpha test and be invited to join the first few players who get to try Rainbow Six Mobile this spring. Guys, I am super excited for this. I mean, look at it. It's a gorgeous game with all the core mechanics, operators, and maps and modes that are familiar to anyone who spent time with Siege. But this game also serves a crucial role for the entire franchise. No matter how many consoles or PCs are out there, they will never amount to the amount of mobile devices that people own. Everyone has a phone, and so anyone can download Rainbow Six Mobile, and if they want the bigger, fuller experience, they can migrate over to Rainbow Six Siege. This will introduce brand new players to Siege who were just browsing the App Store and decided to give it a shot, which means more gamers across the board engaging with this content. I cannot wait to get my hands on it, and you guys can expect lots of Rainbow Six Mobile content on the channel, and so if you're wanting more, make sure you're subscribed to see everything. But next, the designer's notes for Year 7 Season 1, and there is one operator who tops them all. Finka is now the most picked attacker in Rainbow Six Siege, and she's also winning the majority of the rounds she's played. Now, after the rework that enabled Finka to give actual health to the entire team, everything changed. She became the perfect healer for the attacking side, and super reliable if the goal was to boost up the team. But then, when they made it that she could self-revive herself, she really became a one-woman show, because she can sustain herself in a gunfight, and if things go south, she can quickly get herself back up. And so Finka is an operator that you should definitely be picking if you want to secure more rounds, or if you just want really good guns and a powerful global ability. Now, the designer's notes also detail some pretty big changes coming in an update soon. So the big buff for Bandit, where he can place multiple batteries on a single wall, will be a part of this mid-season balancing update. There's also a pretty sizable buff coming to Warden, which doubles the duration of his ability, but also doubles the time it takes to cool down. And then Nomad and ORYX are both getting nerfs. They're making it so that operators who are pushed back can remain prone instead of being forced back up. Here's the exact notes on the change. We're looking at this change in hopes of making knockback effects less guaranteed kills and give more room for the affected players to react and survive, either by responding to the threat from the prone position or just being able to escape from some otherwise last-second situations. All of this will more so affect Nomad rather than ORYX due to the frequency and type of encounters. This is a pretty big nerf because now the operators who are leveled to the ground stand a fighting chance. The intel Nomad supplies when an air jab goes off is still just as good as ever, but the follow-up there will be more risky and potentially mean being less pushy after it's detonated. For ORYX, this hurts him even more because laying someone out already takes a lot of strategy and good timing, and so finishing that kill is essential. The change to the T5 is good, but against attacker assault rifles, it doesn't really stack up, and so it might make it difficult to really clean up kills after this. Another big change is coming to Claymores. Now, every single operator who has this secondary gadget in their kit will get another one, which means with 5 operators, you can have as many as 10 Claymores per round. They say this is a pretty substantial buff to the opportunity potential of the Claymore, if not its solo performance. The main purpose here is to allow a greater selection of operators to block 2 different flanks without needing to bring along a dedicated operator like Nomad or Gridlock. We think this change could make Claymores a more appealing selection in some, but not all cases, ultimately making it a more viable choice compared to grenades, which currently dominate the scene. Picking Claymores still means that the operator is not bringing stuns, smokes, or frags. Making that trade-off for a gadget to cover against flanks can make roaming strategies for defenders more dangerous, especially on maps like Bank or Cafe. And so this is a push, albeit a much more lethal one, at lowering the pick rate of both Gridlock and Nomad, 2 operators you see constantly on the attacking side. And lastly, a major change to Smoke that removes his immunity to his own gas canisters. Now, they're doing this to slow down ultra-aggressive Smoke players, and more so because it's a perk exclusive to him. Once they remove the operator interactions, like Ella not affecting Zofia as much and vice versa, or Zofia unable to pick herself back up, they made it clear that abilities like this were being phased out. Personally, I don't know how many times I've actually used this tactic with Smoke by pushing into the gas, but I'm sure it saves some rounds, and soon it'll be a thing of the past. It is odd though, and yes, they mentioned this, but Smoke does have a gas mask on. Now, he isn't the only one who wears one, but he is the only one who knows what's in the canister. And so maybe his is some exclusive mask that's been fitted to prevent taking harm from the gadget, but I suppose that won't make too much of a difference here. Now, this patch is bringing a lot more change, and we'll talk about everything in greater detail in a future video, but for now, check this out. A brand new Black Ice bundle, but not in Rainbow Six Siege. Call of Duty finally caught on to the craze around this weapon skin, and I've added it to their game, and as you can imagine, there's been a bit of a feud between player bases. Now, for me, there is no competition. The Black Ice in Rainbow Six Siege looks so much better, although I suppose the COD version does have a darker black aesthetic, which some people prefer. As you can imagine, R6 players went crazy when they saw this, but overall, I think the Siege version of this skin is unmatched and still holds the crown. And that's it. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like and subscribe with notifications if you're new. Hey, I'm out.